With popular demand from you guys in the comments section, I've decided to finally cover Mushoku Tensei. I'm going to tell you about my experience with this and my attempt to at least try and watch the first 3 episodes and some pointers as to how my process for discernment has happened as I watch each moment of this anime. The anime starts off just like any other isekai, your stock standard guy getting hit by a truck, then as he's dying, he's literally reborn. As in, we see his perspective as he dies and then as he comes out of the womb. No, he doesn't fully realize this and is actually really confused why the people around him are treating him so weirdly until he reaches out with his hands and realizes that he literally has baby hands. Now, the worst thing about this first section of this anime is that as he grows up and causes trouble, this guy's commentary over all of this is the problem. Keep in mind that the man was 34 years old, terminally online, and never escaped his room when he died in our world, so putting him in the body of a baby and his commentary mentioning some really degenerate stuff towards the women around him paints a pretty good picture for us of this guy's personality. He certainly ain't a nice person, and these are things about this anime which I think might not be okay for you if your conscience was really convicting you about this. Not to mention that there are partially censored sex scenes in this which I thought was completely unnecessary, but they're there and it's in the first episode. It certainly made me uncomfortable as I watched this, and the anime showed close-ups of certain parts of the female anatomy, but I continue to trust the comments that there's meant to be a gem somewhere in here. So Rudy, that's the name given to the main character, continues to grow up at a really accelerated rate, it seems, because he speedruns speaking, reading, and finding out about magic. And here's again another thing in this anime that might inform your discernment, that the magic system of this world does involve pentagrams. And again, if that makes you uncomfortable, I thought I'd let you know. So Rudy jumps on the magic bandwagon, and it's so interesting to hear him just like pontificate and theorize over how magic works, and him just practicing this one spell over and over again, and him trying to figure out how to make this spell actually useful by using it as a projectile. And it's really cool to see him actually do it. The way this anime makes you feel invested in this kid, just training again and again and again, then for him to see progress is just so satisfying to watch. Then he actually does an intermediate spell, then destroys this part of the house. It's at this point now that his parents realize that he should probably get a teacher for this sort of stuff, and we're then introduced to Rudy's magic tutor, Roxy. She first has doubts about this kid doing magic, but after doing a few test spells, she gains faith that maybe this is going to be worth her time. Now, I do have to mention again how unnecessarily horny this anime is, because the moment a bit of breeze comes by, this kid tries to catch a glimpse of Roxy's panties, and it's all just really not needed. I get that he's still a kid, or well, no, he's not a kid because he's a 34-year-old guy stuck in a kid's body, and he really ought to know better than perv on the women around him. The first episode then ends with Rudy's family holding this welcome party for Roxy, and it's very wholesome of them to have been this hospitable and welcoming to this person who's decided to make their way this far out into the countryside. Then it's at the end of this that the character reflects on his old life, and this is the crux of the endgame of this anime, that a guy like him, while he was in Japan, was jobless, wifeless, and in need of a second chance. Which is amazing how he has ended up with actually gaining this second chance by literally being given the opportunity to relive his life in another world. We get to the second episode where the sentiment reflected by Rudy is really emphasized. It's flashback time, and we get to see him in his old body, literally just sitting on a futon doing something with his thing, and I'm not going to describe it any further. And it looks like his family's decided to hire a bunch of thugs to beat him up and kick him out of the house. It's in the rain that old Rudy is forced to go outside and just wander around the city, and it's out here that he sees a couple of high schoolers out on the road with Truck-kun ready to slip and plow right through them. But it's in that moment that old Rudy did the one useful thing that he never thought he could do, and he decides to save those kids. Anyway, it's from that flashback that Rudy wakes up, as it looks like he's been practicing some earth magic, and then he walks outside and the horny energy doesn't stop there. Like, this is strike 53 by now of this anime showing a sus thing happening, and it's at this point as I'm watching this, like, do I continue and trust that the story of redemption for Rudy is something that will redeem everything that's been horny in these first few episodes of Mushoku Tensei? Or do I just stop and drop it right here? Do I stop writing the script now, and this first impression of this anime is just going to serve as my counsel to you guys as you're seeking on whether or not you should even give Mushoku Tensei a go? Yet, at this moment, I persist and seek to find at least something redeemable about this show, then the anime hits me again. As quickly as my faith in the show is regained, the audience is yet again exposed to this guy treating his tutor in a way which is absolutely terrible. Then in less than 2 seconds, we find out that Roxy's actually a demon, and that in this world, there are good demons and bad demons, and just like that, I'm gone, I've dropped the anime, and we aren't even 5 minutes into the second episode. I want to take this opportunity to talk about Sousou no Frieren and why I like that fantasy anime, but I don't like this isekai anime. It's not as if Frieren is completely perfect, like she has problems too, and it's very clear in the first episode about this massive mistake she makes in regards to her friends. However, Frieren lacks fan service. Frieren doesn't have this horny energy emanating throughout it. Frieren as a character has some likable traits, and those are the things which make me really invested in her. Like, I care about her and her friends because she's really chill, and it looks like she's just having a lot of fun as she's gone out to do some adventuring. Not to mention the fact that we don't get this garbage plot point that there are some demons which are good and some demons which are bad. In Sousou no Frieren, we see that demons are evil, and that's that. It's cool, it's good, and I really like the way that the anime portrays that. I think you'd be way better off and way more edified as well if you'd watch Sousou no Frieren instead of watching this. Now, I read some of your comments recommending that I should watch Mushoku Tensei, and I have no doubt in my mind that these are your experiences of it. I read about how the character arc of this guy follows the Christian story. Tonoshi writes how the main character starts out as a wretched sinner who caused great harm to himself through his sin, then he's literally reborn again, and while he clings to certain vices, he becomes more and more as the story progresses an accomplished and virtuous man. I see some of you guys like Icy Ninja say how this is your favorite anime and how you think I can include this as a Christian anime. John Dead writes that he'd love to see the same parallels he does when I watch this show, so I do trust you guys to be discerning for yourselves and see those parallels too. This concept of being given a second chance by a supernatural force is a desire that I feel is commonly held, especially if you're someone who has not really had a good past, or if you've treated people the wrong way, or if you've wasted past prospects. And this anime certainly parallels that opportunity that Jesus has given us. God offers us this chance to be reborn, to take off the old self and put on the new, and I see the foundations of that concept in Mushoku Tensei's first 2 episodes. But at the same time, when you've got this really horny energy driving the main character's personality, I just gotta be honest and tell you guys that this anime just isn't for me. So if you were to ask me if this was a Christian anime, I'd say no. I think if you are looking for an isekai anime which explores adjacent sort of themes, then ReZero does still have a little bit of fan service, but at least I'm not seeing someone having partially censored spicy fun time on my screen as I'm watching it. There's also Frieren, which I mentioned earlier, which has no fan service outright, and that's way more wholesome than what I see in this show. I do hope this video helped you out in your own discernment process, and if you would like to watch an anime that is a bit more wholesome than Mushoku Tensei, and it is also an anime that is part of my testimony, please do watch my video on how Bocce the Rock led me closer to Christ.